Hello and welcome to Marco's Marvel Monday Movie News on Marvel Movie Fan for April 27th, 2015. Just to let you know, you have the option to skip to the next news story or go to the menu to choose what you want to hear. Also, there is a high probability that there will be no video uploaded next week, but we will return the following week. Now on to the news that we missed last week. On April 18th, IGN uploaded their interview with writer-producer Simon Kinberg about X-Men Apocalypse. Kinberg states that all mutant movies are connected. He goes on by saying that Apocalypse will have a major impact on their universe like Days of Future Past did. The Warp has shared what they believe to be a short list of actors to play the role of Spider-Man. They do state that neither Marvel nor Sony has given any comment on this list. There is also a possibility that there could be more actors included. The 5 actors on this list are Nat Wolff, Asa Butterfield, Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet, and Liam James. The Age of Ultron press release was uploaded by Hey You Guys on YouTube. The press release was held in London. Most of the major cast except Chris Hemsworth attended. Like most press conferences, many questions were answered and many secrets were kept. Joss Whedon did want to clarify that the Spider-Man post-credits scene is a fake. He still wants to make sure that people do not wait for the post-credits scene. This press release does contain some spoilers and is about 25 minutes long. Marvel released many TV spots, a couple of featurettes, and a clip. The first featurette talks about Black Widow and Scarlet Witch. The second is about Thor. The movie clip is about Vision. The clip does contain spoilers, so I would not suggest you watch it if you want the movie to have more of an impact. Robert Downey Jr. had 2 interviews. The first one was on the David Letterman show. Downey first talked about his family. Then he talks about his 50th birthday party. He then talks about Age of Ultron and Captain America Civil War. After being asked if Spider-Man will be in Civil War, Downey states, he may well be. During his second interview with Marvel.com, he speaks about how everyone has their turn to be on and off screen, as well as his relationship with Mark Ruffalo. Joss Whedon had a few interviews this past week. He spoke with Mental Floss about his past projects, how he doesn't have any current projects, and obviously Avengers. He talked about how it felt to work with some limitations, why he had the twins and not Ant-Man in the Avengers movie. Lastly, he mentioned that he likes all the MCU movies except Iron Man 2. This interview can be read on the Mental Floss website. The next interview is with IGN. In this short video interview, he talks about his dreams. In his last interview with Flicks in the City, he speaks about having a lot of deleted scenes on the DVD. He then talks about Paul Bettany and Vision. Some of the Avengers are quickly interviewed by The Guardian. The cast is asked about their opinions on different aspects of filmmaking in Hollywood. This video is about 5 minutes. Digital Spy interviewed Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner. They jokingly gave their opinion on Black Widow. Evans states that he cannot share any information on Civil War, and he also clarifies he wants to focus more on directing, but he will play Captain America if Marvel will have him. They both talk about their time on the set of Avengers Age of Ultron and how Spider-Man coming to the MCU was a surprise for both of them. Paul Bettany had 2 interviews. He was first interviewed by Flicks in the City. He talks about Vision. He gives details on his time on the set and how his job has changed as his character changed. He talks about working with James Spader and Vision's personality. He was next interviewed by The One Show. This interview does contain spoilers. Aside from the clip, he talked about the premiere in London. He also talks about his past movies and his personal life. He lastly talks about Vision. The first interview is about 5 minutes, while the second is about 6. Kevin Feige was interviewed by Cinema Blend and released interesting information on Phase 2 movies. Feige states that every Phase 2 movie pays tribute to Star Wars by having someone's hand cut off. The question now is, whose hand will be cut off in the next 2 movies? By looking at the characters of Age of Ultron, there is one character that's supposed to have only one hand. Paul Rudd was interviewed by David Letterman and MTV. In his interview with MTV, he talks about getting in shape for Ant-Man. He also talks about the tone of the movie and how it stands on its own and still fits into the MCU. In his interview with David Letterman, he spoke about how he joined the David Letterman fan club and showed the things he got from it. They also showed a clip for Ant-Man about Scott Lang's first look at the suit. Charlie Cox had 2 interviews. Collider broke down the sections of the interview below the video. Cox talks about Daredevil reviews, the hiring process, his place in the MCU, working with Vincent D'Onofrio, and his second season of Daredevil. In his interview with Close Up Film, he talks about not knowing anything about Daredevil when he started, the violence, his preparation for the role, Season 2, his contract stating that he will appear in a movie if needed, and much more. The second interview is not a video interview. As mentioned in the previous story, there have been talks of Daredevil Season 2. Marvel has announced that Daredevil will return for a second season in 2016. Doug Petrie and Marco Ramirez will be the new showrunners because Stephen DeKnight and Drew Goddard already agreed to work somewhere else before the second season was confirmed. Staying with Daredevil Season 2, Stephen DeKnight was interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter. This interview does contain a lot of spoilers, but he does go into Season 1 of Daredevil and says that he cannot talk about Season 2. He does say that there is a mention of the black sky in Episode 1, and why they did not show how Daredevil sees things more. Both Paul Bettany and Charlie Cox were interviewed by Empire. These 2 interviews took place at different times but put into one show. Cox's interview starts at the 15-minute mark, while Bettany's interview starts at the 54-minute mark. During Cox's interview, he talks about his life and how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is connected to Daredevil. He also talks about what he wants for Season 2, auditioning for Daredevil, and his stunts. He speculates on how they will release the rest of the Netflix series. This is a fun 15-minute interview. Bettany's interview deals with the premiere in London, and his experience meeting the fans. He talks about the same things he had talked about in other interviews, but with a little more detail. He also talks about his past films and auditions. It is an interesting interview. Jed Whedon talks with Marvel.com in an interview about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He talks about how Age of Ultron will affect the show. He also talks about how the show is ready for changes ahead of time because they know what will happen years in advance. This interview is a quick read. According to IGN, Stan Lee quickly dropped some information about Big Hero 6 having a sequel. Even though not many people cared about them in the comics, many people do care about them on the big screen. Oscar Isaac was interviewed by IGN. He talked about recruiting the Four Horsemen and Apocalypse. He also commented on how he got in touch with his character and Apocalypse's thought process. This interview lasts about 3 minutes. MTV spoke with Nicholas Hoult. They spoke about Mad Max and X-Men Apocalypse. Hoult states that he tried on his 80s outfits and that this is his last contracted role in X-Men. But it will depend on his next script if he will be coming back. This interview lasts about 2.5 minutes. Den of Geek interviewed Cody Smith-McPhee. Most of the conversation focused on Slow West, but Smith-McPhee did state that this Nightcrawler is going to be closer to the comics. This was a very short interview. Also, this image that you are looking at is Smith-McPhee as Nightcrawler. X-Men Apocalypse is looking for extras in Montreal. They are looking for men who are fit with shaved heads or who are willing to shave their heads. There is no age or ethnicity requirements, but they are especially looking for black males who have a Mediterranean-like background. The link to the story, which links to the application, could be found in the description. Ryan Reynolds tweeted that Deadpool is halfway done with its production. Not much more can be said about this story. There's leaked Deadpool footage that could contain spoilers. This was taken by YouTuber Melvin Lau during his lunch break. He uploaded 2 videos in the past week. The Fantastic Four cast had a couple of interviews with IGN and Coming Soon. During the IGN interview, they talked about the tone of the movie, preparing to play the Thing, Johnny's personality, and stating that they cannot talk about Doctor Doom. During the interview with Coming Soon, they shared about preparing for their roles. Michael B. Jordan is mentioned as being a comic book fan. They share that they only have seen the trailer. There's a little humor, and that the Monday following the opening they will have an idea if there will be a sequel. Michael B. Jordan was interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel. The question of Johnny and Sue being brother and sister but being different ethnicities did come up. Jordan did state that he cannot reveal why, and also he hates drawing attention to that. He also talks about how he has to be very secretive about his role. The Fantastic Four movie website has just been updated. It now gives short biographies about the heroes. The new poster was also uploaded to the website. Cinema Blend did clarify the change in Mr. Fantastic's powers. He does not really stretch but manipulates the space around him. For our last story, Tim Blake Nelson was interviewed by ComingSoon.net. He talks about working in both the MCU and Fantastic Four. He does not fully understand why the retakes are taking place, but he does trust Simon Kinberg and Josh Trank. Well, that's our news for this week. As usual, there are links to extra stories in the description below. These stories include an Easter egg breakdown in the MCU, the Avengers cast traveling the globe, the Avengers art gallery, a quick explanation of the MCU franchise, a short biography of Joss Whedon's time at Marvel, the reception of Marvel movie trailers on YouTube, Iron Man's Outies, a history of Marvel Studios, the Avengers cast attempting to explain the MCU in 60 seconds, the animated Spider-Man movie, Bryan Singer talking about the comic book Iceman's sexuality, Anna Paquin's tweet about playing Rogue, RDJ and Jeremy Renner ringing the New York Stock Exchange bell, RDJ on the Grantland podcast, the Age of Ultron cast at Good Morning America, MCU repercussions of Age of Ultron, a Daredevil featurette, a new order of watching all the MCU content, the lawsuit over Iron Man's armor design, possibility of Doctor Strange making an appearance in Iron Fist, Ms. Marvel TV show rumor, possible story for the new Spider-Man movie, and a possible Spider-Man title, Spider-Man the New Avenger. For more information on any of these news topics, click on the links in the description below. Also, please leave a comment if you have any questions or information that I may have left out. You can tweet me at MarvelMovieFan0. Subtitles are available in English and sometimes terribly translated Spanish. If you haven't, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you dislike this video, please let me know why. Thank you to Nick V from the Weekly Board, Devin Orvin and Jake Lionheart from YouTube for helping and encouraging me. Also, thank you to the viewers watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.